I followed his career through Challenger back on like Zenith, and he even went to Team Liquid Academy. The guy has played so many games in Challenger scene, but I do think that he plays a mean Renekton. He always has. He also has a really good Rumble, which is still on the table here. And so is Rengar. That's like a really interesting pick that has not been banned here. So Rengar still on the table as a premier jungler. Reignover might take that one. But I do like the Lulu ban from GCU so that Matt doesn't first pick that like he did every single game yesterday.
We've seen a lot of successful Lulu picks for Matt and Double Lift, but they're going to decide to go Camille before anything else on the side of Liquid.
I really like this because this means that the Rumble, which is one of those top priority champions, the Camille against that Rumble, Camille will typically win that matchup or survive the matchup and have a better split pushing pattern that separates Rumble from the team later on.
Goldcoin United's response, though, going to be Zyra locked in first and foremost. Pretty quick, actually, as Santorin picks himself up the Kha'Zix as his first choice jungler.
And with multiple supports banned away, the Lulu also having the Karma and the Malzahar banned away. Makes sense to take that Zyra in the first round. And it was interesting because Matt got his hands on Lulu first pick all 4 games yesterday because TL got to play blue all 4 of them. They got to pick Lulu, and there was some criticism of let Matt have the best champion in support right now as the weakest player on the team might cover some of his flaws. And he did still give away first blood in multiple games yesterday off of kind of boneheaded mistakes.
Well, we'll have to see what they decide to put him on this game without that Lulu being an option. Reignover has already locked in the Elise for himself on the side of Team Liquid, as Piglet's hovering over and locks in the Kench. It's unbenched today, Zirene.
Yeah, Tom Kench has been seeing a little bit more support play. I believe I was also watching the LJL, and he was played in top lane. So still flexible, and Camille could go somewhere else as well, but I do believe it's most likely a bottom lane Tom Kench for Matt to support Double Lift.
Well, we are going to see uneven picks so far. Support and jungle picked up by both sides, but it's top lane versus AD carry. So expect to see the bans differing up a little bit here in the second ban phase. Goldcoin United targeting Ashe first. Looks like they're going to be going after Double Lift here.
Yeah, maybe a Lucian ban as well would be interesting. Caitlyn does have a pretty good matchup into Lucian, but Double Lift loves playing Lucian, and if he's going to carry on a champion, it's such a great pick right now. The Blade of the Ruined King helps his early lane phase even more, and the fact that Fervor has been getting better and better, and Warlords has been getting worse and worse throughout early game.
Well, Liquid will take Rumble off the table, that matchup that you were talking about earlier that Camille does pretty well into. They're just going to say, you know what, you let it pass this far, we're not going to let Solo get his hands on it anyway, taking that away, as Cassiopeia is the second ban by Goldcoin United, keeping Piglet away from that one, which we have seen him have some good games on so far.
Yeah, he's also played the Ahri as well. Interesting if they try to force him on something like Orianna. See what this last ban here is. Maybe a top laner, throw one at mid possibly. Vladimir's still on the table. LeBlanc. Yeah, Phoenix ended up playing LeBlanc the other day. Champion that you don't typically see, but he was able to pick it into a Vladimir and do well.
Goldcoin United wastes no time locking in that Ahri for Phoenix, their first pick of the second part of the draft phase. And a lot of times, Zirene, when you see teams still have their mid laner left to pick after the second rounds of bans have gone through and they're on red side, they wait and save that for last. But Goldcoin United not doing that today.
With the Cassiopeia and the LeBlanc ban, they feel like they can go for, ooh, okay. All right, we'll talk about that in just a second. They felt like they could go for the Ahri and have the assassination potential still with the other AP assassin of LeBlanc off the table. Syndra still kind of around, but this is way more mobility, way more playmaking. And the Karthus, though, for Piglet, that's a huge throwback. I mean, the guy used to play mid in early season 3, season 2, but we'll see. This is going to be really spicy.
All right, Karthus locked in for Piglet. They're going to be grabbing the Varus for Double Lift. As Goldcoin United now thinking about Fizz as the final pick on their team. That would be a top lane bruiser Fizz. Switching over to the Gragas now and locking that in instead. They wanted to have some sort of tankiness.
Yeah, otherwise you're going for just a bruiser Fizz and you don't have that tank on your team. Whereas you look at the side of Team Liquid, they can have that bruiser top lane in the Camille because she'll build a little bit tanky, but also they have the Tom Kench to keep somebody safe. And the Tom Kench, it's really funny because we haven't really seen Karthus since Tom Kench became a champion,
right?
But you can eat Tom Kench and his lay waste will stay on the whole time. So in the middle of a fight, you can just pick up the Karthus and run him around.
Gobble him up and then still have the Defile circling around you,
yeah,
destroying everybody.
Sorry. The Defile, the huge AoE.
That's pretty solid. I was going to ask you that if you didn't explain it already, because I literally have never seen a game with both Karthus and Tahm Kench in it.
Yeah, Tahm Kench, it's interesting because they made it so he has interactions where spells that are kind of like toggled on or casts, not channels, will continue to go. Like Fiddlestick's ultimate will still go and have the AoE. Yeah, Lucian will continue to call from his belly. Rumble Q will still come out from his belly. It's great.
All sorts of weird interactions there with Tahm Kench, but we'll have to see how well Matt can do on this, because we already talked a little bit about him being the kind of guy who a lot of people, a lot of fans and critics, both of Team Liquid, have blamed Matt for some of Liquid's subpar performances so far this split. He's the death leader in NALCS, gets killed more often than any other player, and a lot of times those weaknesses, like you were talking about, sometimes it just seems like boneheaded mistakes. Just getting himself into a spot that he shouldn't have been in, and hopefully on this Tahm Kench, he'll be able to keep his allies and himself out of trouble.
And I will say, this is not an easy matchup for Matt in the bottom lane. He's going up against a Zyra Caitlyn bottom lane. This is the bully lane, the premier bully lane that will try to shove you in. He's on a melee support up at the same time. It's not going to be easy. And to throw in another aspect, Matt, his original name was Matt Life, named after Mad Life. He's going up against the person that he named himself after. So this is, honestly, he's going up against his hero.
Yeah. If there's ever a lane to be a little bit nervous in, maybe get the jitters a little bit, this is it. You're up against the guy that inspired you. And not an easy task.
And it's such an interesting thing to like dive into too, because if you're going up against the person who inspired you, you have to kind of do your own thing. Because if you do their thing, they're just still going to be better than you at it.
Right. You're just the imitation at that point, and they're the original. If you're just trying to be somebody else, the best thing you're ever going to be is number 2.
Yeah.
Because they're always going to do them better. Reignover and Lorlo moving their way into Santorin's jungle to drop down a ward there. Keep an eye on the Raptor Pit. Solo just waddles his way on over to make sure nothing too crazy is going to be happening here. But both of these teams, we saw yesterday, they've got the potential to make things happen. It's just going to come down to who executes it better, especially with some unique picks here in this game. Going to be keeping my eye on Piglet's Karthus, especially considering how rare of an occasion it is to even get to see this champion.
Yeah, and Karthus is interesting because he has a lot of wave clear. He has the potential to push people in, and a lot of people want to hug minions when they're against Karthus because he'll get the lay waste for full damage on a single person if they're away from the minion wave. But it's kind of counterintuitive because people will want to actually go for killing the minions and the person at the same time. That's why, like, when you're up against the Karma in bottom lane, sometimes it's better to stand far behind the caster minions, the melee minions, or just stand away from them if you're the support. Sure, you might eat a Q, but they aren't shoving the wave if you're shoving the wave.
Right, the Q's still going to explode on all the minions and on you. That can kind of be a problem sometimes if you don't have that positioning where it needs to be. Phoenix will be taking control early on here in this lane. I think it's going to need a little bit of time to get to the point where those lay wastes actually do a whole lot to spam those.
We'll see. His scripting's on point today.
Well, hopefully he can manage to get those dialed in where he needs to get them. And of course, going up against something like, you've got an Ahri, you've got a Kha'Zix, you've got a lot of damage potential on this side of Gold Coin United. But what's the counter to champions that kill you quick? A champion that wants to die.
A champion that wants... Okay, I got you there.
Yeah. If their goal is to kill you and your goal is to die, everybody gets to win.
Yeah. Has ever had a game where there's a low mana or an out of mana Karthus and you're just like, don't kill him, don't kill him, just leave him.
Just leave him there. Let him walk away. He's a melee minion.
Let him attack you. It's fine.
Sometimes you forget that Karthus even has an auto attack animation. From level 1, he's only spamming Qs. Santorin into the enemy jungle, though, not going to be finding a whole lot of anything except those Krugs. No red buff, no Reignover, no anything, and he'll just hop over the wall, start to steal these away. Shouldn't really have too much difficulty with that. No way the enemy bottom lane's going to be doing anything about it. They are shoved in.
Repelled the blast cone from Reignover. Going for the invade there. Some vision down, and he'll take it over. So it's kind of mirrored on the opposite side what each of them are doing. Taking away the Krugs. Will take some time to do that on both sides. The bottom lane is shoved in. Not really gankable here. Whereas this top lane, actually think this is moderately gankable. It would be possible to get to Solo, but Solo does see Reignover with that ward.
Solo will be aware of what's going on here. Lorlo tries to jump in, but does not find his man. Solo keeping himself back and plenty safe from this attempt. So Reignover's forced to head to the river, grab the Scuttle Crab. You already saw Santorin do the same thing on the bottom side. Plus securing that just makes that bot lane feel that much safer. Pushing up, keeping Doublelift and Matt underneath the turret and abusing that range and that bully potential that you were talking about there for Mash and Madlife.
Yeah, just keep them underneath that turret. Mash and Madlife will have a pretty good game here in laning phase. And now there's not really much to do in the jungle for both these junglers. Rainover's going to run back to his Raptors, because those will be up in just a second here. And then he'll pick those up. And there's actually a ping onto his Raptors from Santorin saying, like, hey, that's around where he's going to be. So they're tracking each other pretty easily here.
And in a game like this one where both junglers are kind of just on the farm-heavy path, if you can keep track of the other guy, it's going to be big because the first one of these two to come out of the jungle and make a big play, they're going to be the one who helps set that early tempo. So if you're constantly keeping track of them, saying, hey, he's right here, make sure you're playing safe, you're doing great.
Yeah. Every time that I've heard Rainover in comms, it's always tracking the enemy jungler. He's about here right now. He's about here. Sometimes you're wrong, but he's always giving information to his team to kind of tell them how to play the lane at that moment. But you don't really get an option on how to play this bottom lane here because Madlife and Mash get to push up the whole time, have better wards. You can see both the trinkets of Doublelift and Matt are still up because there's no reason to ward right now.
Yeah, what are you going to ward? You're stuck underneath your turret the whole time. There's not really too much concern about it as they finally claw their way out from under there, if only for a moment. But the Madlife and Mash push is going to be continuing. The root finds its way onto both Liquid players, and Doublelift gets into a little bit of a scuffle with those plants. So oppressive, man. Between the Caitlyn range and the Zyra spam, this is a hard hand to have to play out, but that's what Doublelift and Matt have been dealt. Solo and Lorlo in that top side, though. Lorlo's trying to build himself up a CS advantage, utilizing the trading power of that Camille. And who will win? Well, apparently 57% of you guys think that it's actually the challengers, Gold Coin United, that'll be walking away with the victory here over Liquid.
Solo getting a little aggressive. Level 6 came out. He cannot escape. You have to knock him out.
Hextech ultimatum tries to disengage everything. Lorlo going to be brought low. Solo going to make the play.
Oh.
But the first blood goes the way of Rainover, barely keeping his top laner alive.
Just barely. They ended up picking him up before he got Lorlo there. The flash away. Solo was waiting for just another round of cooldowns. Now it's 4 in the bot side. Piglet with the ulti.
4-man dive. Piglet looking to help him out a little bit. If he can. Madlife going to be taken down. Piglet grabbing the kill credit for that one. The turret helps him out with that ulti. 2-for-0 Liquid.
Really well played there. The snatch up by Matt. The exhaust comes down in the flash to make sure that they keeps him safe. And Doublelift caught by Phoenix.
Doublelift in some trouble. Phoenix going to go ahead and get his team on the board for the first time this game. 6 minutes, 30 seconds in. He'll grab that one onto the enemy AD carry. Good pickup for Gold Coin.
Yeah, now we're seeing summoner spells be blown in the bottom side of the map. And Phoenix picks himself up a kill. So it's 1-to-1 in the mid lane in terms of those kills. Back and forth, and that's where my eyes are, because I want to see who ends up on top here. This is a good collapse from GCU, but what Matt does here is actually quite good. So gray health flashes away, and then that ends up getting the kill. That's great. Doesn't even have to snatch anybody up there. Just had to make sure that he absorbed enough damage and got the gray health off. And then he plays back. He's actually playing this right, because he's playing back. Doublelift is kind of going for the CS. So yeah, if they, at that point, that's kind of like Matt and Doublelift either both have to back off, or Matt needs to stay near Doublelift to eat him after he gets charmed.
Just a little bit of miscommunication there between the two on what the game plan was going to be. It ends up costing Doublelift his life, but Gold Coin United is really going to have to be playing around the Karthus like that. You're not used to having to play around this massive amount of damage coming towards your entire team when you make the 4-man rotation, but similar to playing around a Shen.
It was actually really great that he used that preemptively. A lot of Karthuses will wait until the person's low, and then you get time to react. You get time to throw out the heal if you need to. So he does it as they're diving to either dissuade the dive and just make sure they got the kill on the top side of the map with Rainover onto Solo, or they go for the dive and they lost somebody. So really well played there from TL across the board.
Control Ward going to be seeing what Santorin's doing as he grabs his second red buff here of the match. He'll jump right on top of it and say, hey, I'm going to clear this one out myself.
Yeah, basically saying, hey, they know where I am right now. So starts back and then stops it. Pretty low, though, in the jungle.
Definitely not in any sort of a condition to be fighting anyone as Piglet goes to secure his blue, but the red buff tick has other plans. Yeah, that's a little bit of a tilter.
So I feel like every time that you're just holding it for the mid laner, it's kind of like, you ever hold a door for somebody and they're just too far away,
just a little bit out of range. It's kind of awkward because they got to start like power walking to get to it in time, or they just don't respond and you're stuck standing there.
Yeah, at that point you're kind of like,
shouldn't have done this.
shouldn't have done this, but then you're like, all right, fuck it,
Just let it go.
and just let the door go.
Well, that's what they did now. The door is closed on Piglet for that blue buff, so he's going to have to spam as much as he can without it. Still got the Sorcerer's Shoes, still got the Catalyst. So he's getting there, but he's got to deal with Phoenix, who's got a blue buff. So that'll be a little bit trickier.
Yeah, like you said, the Karthus really wants that blue buff early on.
Oh boy. Spider versus Mantis, whatever Kha'Zix is. He's playing Mantis,
one of those,
right?
It's like a Scyther.
That's not a real thing, Zirene. You can't just call the Pokemon. I'm looking for stuff that actually exists.
It's a real man, I tell you.
It's not a real thing. We're looking for actual animals, and I'm pretty sure he's a praying mantis. He's got claws. Praying mantises have claws. That's got to be what he is. Either way, they're both vicious predator things, and I thought for sure they were going to get into a fight there, but instead they walk away. Santorin level 6, Reignover level 8. Pretty big difference between the two. The ward over the wall spots Santorin.
Get the blue buff.
Not going in there, and Reignover's just walking himself away.
Yeah. Getting that blue buff will definitely help you out in the experience department. Also, his pace in the jungle has just been a little bit faster. He's been smiting camps at a different frequency. I've been noticing that he smited the big raptor level 1. Then when he came back to it again, the second raptor, he smited the big raptor again, made it really fast, so that he's not taking as much damage and he stays out for longer. Because you saw Santorin even have to do his red and back, so part of the red timer is ticking on him. So he's just kind of behind in terms of just all these seconds add up.
Yeah, and the gold lead that you're seeing on the side of Team Liquid, 900 gold advantage for Reignover over Santorin right now. That's a lot of money as a difference between these two junglers. There's a reason that even though this game is only 1 kill apart with no objectives on the board, it's almost a 1,500 gold lead, and the name of that reason is Reignover.
Oh yeah, Reignover has been doing work. Guy has honestly been a little bit invisible this split, but I feel like the reason behind that is there's just been so many swaps. The bottom lane has been swapped back and forth, the mid lane, and he hasn't really found his style on who to play to. So right now, Reignover's kind of playing for himself, playing for his camps, keeping his team safe. But I did like the move that he made topside to get a kill onto Solo. I will say as well that Solo used to be a player for Team Liquid Academy. If you go back to last split when he was trying to qualify for the LCS, was in Game 5 against Echo Fox. The guy used to be kind of Lorlo's apprentice in a sense, but they would know that he tilts a little bit.
So why not tilt him? Why not focus on him a little bit? If you know that you can punish some sort of mental aspect of your opponent's game like that, then do it.
Yeah, and when I think of Solo as a player, I feel like he's a player who doesn't really like to get carried. He kind of wants to be the one to carry. So that's been developing over time where he's becoming a little bit more and more okay with it. But you're definitely going to see a more damage-oriented style here. You're going to see a little bit more coming out from him in terms of trades than you normally would for somebody who's playing a bit safer and reserved on top side, thinking the rest of their map is going to win.
Good utilization there of the passive by Lorlo, getting himself that magic shield up in time to block a good half of Solo's trade. Stops him from being able to do a whole lot against this Camille. Tiamat completed on her, so she's got extra wave control. Likely going to be going for that Trinity Force next. As Reignover makes his way up here into the top side, drops a little bit of damage onto Solo, but does not want to go all the way underneath the turret against the full HP Gragas.
Yep, and so now you'll see off to the other side here. Mash going to take some damage, but he's really focused on just that turret. They're trying to get first turret here before the top one goes down, so they're making sure the minion stays alive with the teleport. It's going to be a race. Who gets it?
Corruption was used by Doublelift to try to hold this off, but he does not do so successfully. Gold Coin United will beat Liquid to the first turret punch just barely.
Yeah, just a matter of seconds there. I would say about 5 seconds between those two going down. And Phoenix getting a whole bunch of turret damage. Piglet was doing this yesterday to Fox, where he might be down in CS, but every time we saw mid lane, Piglet was taking the enemy turret, and it was already about 2/3 HP, half HP. And this time, Phoenix, with pretty much no help in mid lane as Ari, has just gotten up, gotten those auto attacks on the turret, and has been taking it down slowly but surely.
Gold Coin United now moving themselves over to the Cloud Drake as well. The first Elemental Drake spawning this game. They'll grab that one, no contest. These guys are starting to find success all across the map right now, as they lose their red buff.
Yeah, Reignover going to take that red buff away. Solo, don't think he'll chase that. He's got a bit of a minion wave top to clear. And now Piglet, let's see.
All right, one more time. There we go. All right, he got it that time.
Reignover has lost blue buff handoff privileges. It's now Lorlo who has to do it for Lord Piglet. He must be appeased.
Well, Piglet currently down in CS. His turret's almost gone. Lorlo now issuing the Hex Tech ultimatum into the top side. Not going to be knocked out of it. The damage comes through, and Phoenix grab that kill as Phoenix makes his way into the fight with the TP. Now having to back himself out. No real way to continue this one. Both targets below half HP, but he just does not have what he needs to make this one happen alone.
And Phoenix still hanging around a bit. Looked like he was looking for something a little tricky there. And now Santorin's going to go on to Matt.
Matt has to pop the thick skin and the flash to get himself away.
And exhaust, too.
Really not happy about that trade.
Yeah, for a ward there. It was actually quite a good approach from Santorin to use the Void Assault before leaving the bush, so it didn't give Matt as much time to react.
Still a 1,500 gold lead for Team Liquid, though. Maintaining that through the kills, through the farm. Goldcoin United looking to continue this push now with the Caitlyn. That's the power of this pick, right? You manage to take your own turret, you rotate to the other lane, start sieging up there, and just snowball that early gold lead through those objectives.
Yeah, and GCU, they have the luxury of playing around 2 teleports. Ah, nice.
All right.
Charm.
Ooh, Karthus ulti coming in to help out with this one, too. Lorlo wants to make it happen. A little bit more damage would have done it, but the flash away from Phoenix will keep him safe. Yeah,
Piglet there also has the Deathfire touch, so you can't really think you're completely safe and know exactly the Karthus damage, because there was a little bit more behind that. And also that may, like, as surprising as it might sound, that may have been enough damage there to kill Phoenix with the true damage second Q, because there's already a Sheen, already a Spellblade proc for Lorlo, and he's got rank 5 of his Q. So it may have been enough there to actually finish off Phoenix, so it is a good flash.
Sometimes you've just got to err on the side of caution. It's Team Liquid trying to push up bottom lane. Not really finding the opportunity to take down that tier 1 just yet. Goldcoin moving through their own jungle, trying to pass this second blue buff now off of Phoenix. Solo hanging around down here, deciding he's probably going to have to head back up towards top pretty soon now. TP not available for him, so he's got to mind his positioning in terms of the overall map really closely here for the next minute or so. Lorlo with his TP up and available. Can go looking for those plays anytime they might show up, but right now there's not really a whole lot to fight for.
Yeah, Dragon off the table, Rift Herald still up. Mid lane turret and kind of tending to your side lane is going to be the name of the game here for both these teams. But that middle turret is really low for TL, so if GCU push up, they might be able to take it. Taking a big beating over time from Phoenix.
I remember yesterday too, Liquid's first game, they had a rough match against E United, and then they just took over for the next 3 in a row, right? So maybe what we're seeing this game is Team Liquid testing the waters a little bit.
This is Double Lift bringing TSM over, going, we lose first game? All right, we got it. All right, in the next few.
Next few, here we go. Piglet gonna be jumped on. Goldcoin United trying to make the moves. Matt shows up just in case. Piglet would need to be eaten to safety, but not even required. Goldcoin's attempt on the enemy mid laner's life will not be successful, but now they're able to set up shop. Now we got some cupcakes. What even, are there still cupcakes on this skin? I have no idea. Is that a rice ball? I don't know. It's a rice ball in a metal thing. All right,
they're all gone. Gordles love them. That's all we need to know.
Setting up some rice balls underneath the enemy turret to try to bait these guys in, see if they can get them to step on one of those, trying to defend the tier 1, but they can't do it. They're just going to end up causing GCU to walk away from this one. Goldcoin United not finding any opportunity to continue themselves any further forward off the momentum of taking that bottom lane tier 1 and putting the Caitlyn elsewhere. Liquid doing a good job of stopping that for now. Solo and Lorlo, TP's both up, hanging out in that top side as Team Liquid brings more bodies into the mid lane. Now it's their turn to go for the T1. Goldcoin United with the bottom lane still here to defend. Runaan's Hurricane up on the Caitlyn means he's able to work easily with Mad Life to take all those minions out very rapidly. Keep the turret nice and safe.
Keeping that turret safe, making sure that that one doesn't go down before the enemy mid does. So GCU still looking for that middle turret from TL. As soon as they get that one, they can move to the top side and feel okay about it. Mountain Drake up in a minute though, so it'll be a process before that really does happen for them. So GCU once again bring Phoenix to mid, off this wave. Gonna make sure they don't get almost any shots onto that turret. Just so few.
They don't need a lot of damage onto it, but they need a little bit more than that. Rainover grabbing his own red buff. Drake in 45 seconds. Remember that the first one went over to Goldcoin United. No contest. Have to see if Liquid feels comfortable fighting for the second one. Remember, they do have the kill lead. They do have the gold lead. I don't really expect to see them giving away anything for free soon.
Yeah, Piglet wants to clear this wave, get handed off the blue buff so he can continue to make sure that that wave never hits the turret. Because Karthus can effectively do that. He's got such a long range on that lay waste, and then he has to defile as well just in case. Look at that, just making sure. Yeah, not even 100%.
Close. Had to make sure the Spiderlings didn't get it.
Piglet's like, my wolf camp too.
This is payback.
Oh my god, just take it all.
Tax the jungle. All right, Piglet back in mid lane, clearing out those minions just like you said, making sure that MASH does not even get one auto attack of firing time onto that mid lane turret. Keeping it safe as the Mountain Drake spawns. You can see more Gold Coin United players hanging around there right now than Team Liquid. Both top laners ready to make their way into this fight if they have to. Some wards placed down in the pit from Gold Coin as well as behind it in the Team Liquid jungle so they can see Liquid coming.
Yep. MASH still going to tend to mid lane because if somebody leaves mid lane, they could give up Mountain Drake for TL taking GCU's mid turret. So they have to keep somebody here. And you can see they're even just going to have Santorin solo the rest of this because they need to have wave clear mid and they need to have position there. Phoenix can go back down to the bottom side here and make sure that they have two pushing waves as they pick up the Mountain Drake.
Good job from Gold Coin United. They grab that one for free just like they did the first one. They don't end up actually losing anything there in the mid lane. Keeping MASH around does more than enough to keep Liquid away. Phoenix now on the bottom side, pushing this one up. Double lift is going to be the answer, trying to clear this out as effectively as possible. Blade of the Ruined King completed on him. Working on his next item with the Zeal.
And I will say this is actually going to be a really interesting series because everybody is actually farming relatively well. Even Double Lift in a disadvantageous lane against a Caitlyn Zyra did a really good job of farming. And then top lane, 2 deaths for Solo, but he's still basically within a wave's reach of Lorla. Like, this is quite impressive here, and this series might actually be really close.
I mean, compare it to what you were seeing with the stats there on your screen just a moment ago in their series versus E United yesterday. Liquid was up 4,285 gold.
Yeah.
Compared to E United, Gold Coin's keeping this a lot closer.
Yeah, and MASH could have taken the turret there, but didn't have full vision of exactly where Rainover was or exactly where Piglet was or how close they were, so was a little bit afraid to walk up and take it there, because if he does, then he dies, turret on his side goes as well.
I've seen enough Fiestas in my days, Zirene. I can respect somebody making that call, making the safer play, instead of running the risk of getting themselves killed.
Had enough Fiestas that I can identify when somebody is actively avoiding one. Fiesta connoisseur.
A man of taste and class.
And this is not one.
Mid lane tier 1 will finally fall. Gold Coin realizes they've got more than enough manpower here to make sure that one goes into the dust as they nearly tie this game up. Only 500 gold separating them now from their Team Liquid counterparts. Santorin in the enemy jungle, spotted out by a ward there as he goes to steal away the Gromp, and Gold Coin is about to make this a 3-turret game.
Yep, and on the other side, it's going to be a turret that's going to be taken by TL as Double Lift takes the bottom turret.
3 turrets to 2. Gold Coin United still very, very small gold gap between them and their opponents, just trying to get themselves to a point where they feel comfortable with these fights. Rod of Ages and Void Staff both completed now for Piglet, though, so you really got to be careful about this Karthus. We know what he can scale into.
Starts doing some major damage just with the ultimate, too. And we're looking at AD carries that aren't really going to buy magic resistance here. Caitlyn, I don't think you do at all unless you're getting a QSS. And against this team, you would only really get it for the Elise Cocoon.
You get it for the Varus ulti too, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth it at that point. I feel like getting another attack speed item, Bloodthirster, would just be better. Bloodthirster might be what you get for just the overshield and the lifesteal to try and get yourself back up to healthy when it's coming through.
I mean, you think about the late game for Team Liquid, you think about the goals of where Piglet wants to be with this damage. If he ends up with 700, 800 AP and he drops that ulti, who's actually going to be tanky against it? I mean, you got Solo, but
you got a Locket from Mad Life coming in as his first item after the Sightstone. Phoenix
over with a lot of damage onto Phoenix, having to flash himself away. Exhaust going to be used. There's your ulti, and there is your kill. Double Lift grabbing that one.
Yep, I was going to say, this is actually interesting for both teams because GCU, they have double teleport, so they can play with Phoenix in one lane, Solo in the other, and then keep that mid turret alive by having their bottom lane and jungler there. And look at, they're going to try to get a counter kill on Piglet. Still has flash.
Piglet getting himself away, has to utilize the exhaust to make sure that he does walk out, but he'll gladly take the trade as now his teammates are pushing in the tier 2 on top side. Double Lift and Rainover doing as much damage to that one as they can. Matt slowing down Mad Life, flashing himself over the wall to make sure that he doesn't end up in too precarious of a spot, and Team Liquid bails out.
Yep. And like I was saying, the split push from GCU could be good with the teleports, but you have to keep in mind that Matt can be in the middle and always go to top or bottom side and bring somebody else with him. So those one-on-ones on the side lanes that a 1-3-1 really wants can quickly become a 3-on-1. And then you have the Karthus wave clear mid against the other remaining members of the large force. So 1-3-1 is kind of countered.
You got the Karthus ulti too, so it's 3.5 versus 1.
Great point.
Because you've got this magical death beam from the sky.
Orbital ion cannons.
Orbital ion cannon, zero that one in. Such a cool looking effect. That's what we need. We need a space Karthus.
Hell yeah.
That zeroes, hell yeah. That zeroes in on somebody with an ion cannon. I'd pay for that. 1820 skin, easy peasy.
Get that money. All right. All right.
All right, but the Gold Coin United, though, they're still down less than 1,000 gold. They've still got 2 Drakes compared to 0 as well. Like, we can't just brush that off the table. They've secured both of those so far. Another Mountain's going to be coming up here in a minute, so if they can grab that, they're going to have some serious objective advantage.
And when you have the 1-3-1 going, you definitely want that, but I don't know how much Solo will get to these turrets, because Lorlo, the Camille, is just a superior split pusher. He's also going Ravenous Hydra as opposed to Titanic. I think you 75% of the time see Titanic Hydra. Maybe even 80% of the time see Titanic. It's tankier, it's a bit more
fight better.
It's a bit more burst, and you team fight well. This is just, you keep soloing, no matter what, you have sustain, you can get to those turrets and deal more physical damage, your true damage burst is a little bit higher, but you're definitely less tanky. But in sustained fights where you're not getting blown up, it's definitely a better item.
100% the split push build. There's no way that some sort of an all-tank champion, somebody building 5 tank items in a boot, is going to do any measurable damage to you. We just heal it right back off with the Ravenous Hydra, and that's kind of the barrel that he's staring down right now. You can see the sheen on Solo indicating that he does plan on going for an Iceborne Gauntlet, so he'll have a little bit more damage than he otherwise might.
Yeah, it's interesting as well because he's going for also a Spirit Visage. So he went for the Sunfire Cape first, wants the Spirit Visage, but it's a full Spirit Visage here. It's not just sitting on Spectre's Tell, because he's building against a lot of the damage that's on TL. This isn't going to help him in lane in the matchup up against Lorlo.
Right. The Spirit Visage helps a lot in a team fight. It's going to block plenty of the damage from Rainover, who's 1-0 and 2. Rainover's doing a great job so far. It's going to block a lot of what Piglet's doing.
Percentage P from Double Lift as well?
Yeah. If you're the person who's going to be in that 1v1, you're really going to have to make sure that you can endure the Camille. Otherwise, Lorlo is just going to run completely rampant over these side lanes. And you can see him very comfortably just hanging out there all the time as Solo is forced to answer. Both those top laners level 15, mid laners singing the same story. So very soon, Zirene, we're going to see them ticking that level 16 point, finding that important level 3 ulti. And when you've got champions in the game like Karthus and like Ahri, that can make a big difference in these team fights.
Oh yeah, it just becomes a big cluster. And I feel like GCU don't really want to cluster up against TL. The Runeance Hurricane, Blade of the Ruined King, Varus does a lot of damage to multiple targets. The Karthus, same story. I feel like you just don't want to be in this big kerfuffle with them. You want to kind of have split skirmishes and picks.
QSS also up for double lift, so that along with a Tahm Kench to keep himself safe, he is making sure that he is not randomly removed from one of these fights by some freak CC accident. Flash from Rainover to grab the cocoon onto Mash. He's going to be bursted very low, but Rainover is the one who's actually taken down first. Piglet going to be targeted next. Matt running away, trying to keep their pace. He's going to be cast back. A double kill for Phoenix.
Piglet got one.
All right, 1 for 1. 1 for 2, I should say so far. Lorlo going to be caught out off there to the side, jumping in. Hextech ultimatum issued on Santorin. It's going to be 1 kill for him, trying to walk himself away. Matt again with the save. This hungry Kench is keeping everybody safe today.
Yeah. Piglet didn't even ulti there. I believe what he tried to go for was just a whole bunch of Qs. Maybe the ultimate would have helped a whole bunch in that fight, but he's saving it for a possible dragon after he respawns. His team's going to get it, though, because they ended up winning the rest of that team fight. And Lorlo, a lot of lifesteal. They get him back to about half.
Liquid happy to grab themselves that Drake. A replay of the fight, though, and the cocoon that started it all.
Yeah, he doesn't see what's going on over here with Phoenix and Mad Life. They're both on this right side. Flash, cocoon, hits Mash. Then Phoenix goes over the wall and gets the charm to pick him up afterwards. This right here from Solo is great. After the root, Matt gets knocked back. Piglet gets delivered. Has ultimate, doesn't pop ultimate here. Instead, tries to fish for some Qs. Maybe should have gone for that instead. But then Matt, I feel like he was right on point there with the 2 Ws in that fight. Sadly, got rooted and then got knocked back for Piglet's death. But it could have been a hero move, but he does save Lorlo.
That cocoon prediction was just juicy.
So good. It was so good.
Like, oh my goodness, that was fantastic.
That was like,
when you can flash forward and aim the cocoon like that with that level of confidence, that is rain over plays.
That's where you're like, he's gonna freak out. He's gonna 90 caliber net and flash right into it.
He's immediately getting himself away right into where I'm putting this. That's the kind of planning that you need. That's the kind of confidence you need from your jungler in games that matter as much as this one does. Phoenix now clearing out some of the Krugs, trying to farm up. He's got the Luden's Echo. He's got a QSS as well. Both Phoenix and MASH have gone for those, so paying a lot of heed towards those cocoons, towards the potential of the Chain of Corruption.
Yeah, didn't think that MASH would get one because of the possibility that it's only really for 1 or 2 forms of CC, but he's going to go for it here. Just because it's also magic resistance against that Karthus ultimate, so that does make sense, and I'm glad that he went for it. And the Mercurial Scimitar is honestly just like an endgame item for pretty much every AD carry. Even if you get exhausted, you just want to get rid of that summoner spell. Just remove that movement speed slow.
And of course, the problem is, though, for somebody like Phoenix, it's not really an in-game item because auto-attack Ahri isn't really a thing.
Well, I saw one yesterday. No. The auto-attack Ahri with the Lich Bane will come out at some point.
Yeah, there you go.
Piglet was doing that, trying to get those turrets. So right here, Baron buff is what's... Everybody's kind of sitting around.
I mean, we're 30 minutes into the game. That's kind of the name of it at this point in time. Goldcoin United clearing out some vision, laying down some of their own. Lorlo issues the Hextech ultimatum onto Solo, who places a nice cast to barely get Lorlo out of the range, cancel the ultimatum itself, and get himself back away to safety.
Looking at some skill orders here. Solo went for the Q first, maxed that. Then he started going towards maxing the W for sustain. This is typically what you'll see in the lane with a tank Gragas. But I also want to talk about MASH. MASH went 3 points into his Q, maxed traps for mid-game, and now he has 4 points in his E. And
oh no, Matt, gonna be in some trouble. Thick Skin barely keeping him alive. The Redemption makes sure. Chains of Corruption onto Phoenix, gonna be scaring Goldcoin United back. They almost find the Team Liquid support, but not quite.
Yeah, almost got him there. Yeah, final thing I was talking about with MASH was it was interesting because he went 3 points in Q to make sure he had wave clear, got Runean's Hurricane, put points into W because you want the trap max when you group, but now he's actually maxing E second so that he has the escape and has more access to that headshot and that 90 caliber net, so he's not caught. Which I actually think is a clever adaptation for Caitlyn because a lot of people just continue to max that Q where that E cooldown goes down pretty drastically.
Charm onto Rainover, who's going to be caught out, picked off, shut down. Trying to get himself away. That's a very good binding onto Matt, who's barely going to be able to eat Rainover up, but instead they both die. Matt tries to be the hero, but instead just ends up going down with his teammate, and that is 2 big picks for Goldcoin, who have rotated their top lane over towards Baron, and that's going to be the call.
Yeah, the 1-3-1 wasn't really working out because they didn't have pressure against Lorlo on the Camille, and so they start grouping and denying vision, and this is exactly what you want to do with this pick composition. I was talking about they don't want to have those 5v5 for bubbles. They want to have picks. They want to be able to just have a swift fight. Lorlo's going to try to go for Phoenix.
All right, here we go. Hextech ultimatum. Lorlo trying to make it happen, instead having to flash away, cancel the ultimatum itself. Ace in the hole, barely going to be stopped from finding the kill thanks to the heal from Double Lift. Phoenix getting himself away. QSS going to be used, stopping the exhaust. Baron going to be down to 1/3 HP. Piglet still trying to find the damage. Chain of Corruption there onto MASH, who's trying to get himself away. Solo going to be in some trouble. Here comes the Karthus ulti. Oh my goodness! A double kill for Piglet. The shutdown onto the enemy mid laner. Lorlo over the wall. A killing spree as Baron goes the way of Goldcoin United, and then they just start to drop. Team Liquid now in pursuit.
Only 2 members, Solo and Santorin, get to keep it, but this mid lane's going to go down. Double Lift is going to be able to push this one in. That Karthus ultimate, that's what you're waiting for. You're waiting for that one to come through. They got the Baron just in time, though, so it was a little bit late from Piglet, but it's still right on time to get 2 kills and help get a 3rd.
Right on the money, Zirene. Team Liquid managed to get themselves that, but you've still got to keep in mind, Goldcoin does have 2 members up and alive with the Baron buff, so these minions are going to be extra obnoxious to try to kill. Explosive cast used to try to just clear the wave away, but Team Liquid is able to get that tier 3 turret. They won't go for inhib itself, instead deciding to back away. Piglet is not nearby for this fight. They don't want to risk putting themselves in a spot where they end up throwing this. Instead, just back off and reset it.
Yeah, and so they get to back off. They got that middle inhibitor turret. They have a wave pushing top that needs to be cleared. Let's look at this one more time. This seems like almost an impossible defense from TL, where they're trying to stop this. Or a possible offense, I guess. Lorlo gets pulled back. Piglet tries to get separated with the cast, and then Lorlo almost dies. The fact that he stays alive gives him time to back and teleport back in And so right here, Piglet gets a few over the wall as well. Backs out of range from where Solo could maybe body slam flash him. Altis gets Phoenix and Mad Life. Mash is going down, ticking right there, and the Redemption almost kills him, but then the follow-up with the hook shot from Lorlo for the final kill, and Piglet almost gets Solo there on the side too. That's just beautifully played on the execution of the ultimate there. I mean, he hit a button, right, but he backed off.
He hit a button
right.
in damn style, Zirene.
Yeah.
That was exactly what you want to see out of your Karthus.
And the thing that I want to say about Karthus here is when he hits that button with style, the next time he hits it is even better, which is super scary because if Karthus gets going and he's 4-1 and 2, got 8 Dark Seal stacks, every time he hits that button, it's going to be even worse than the last time.
I mean, look,
it does not get better.
Look at the build. The Andrews, Torment, and Void Staff. Santorin going to be in some trouble now. Hextech Ultimatum issued onto him. Lorlo looking to make the damage, looking to make the move. Barely getting away, but not for long. Mash going to be shot down too. A double kill for double lift. And Solo is going to be number 3. Triple kill for double lift. Solo shut down off the side. Can they find the remaining member? Cocoon says yes. Phoenix says maybe. Here comes your damage from the Karthus. Rainover just skrittering after him, trying to find that damage. Cocoon pretty low himself. Cocoon doesn't find it. Rainover biting off a little bit more than he can chew. Matt coming after, but decides to back away. A 4-for-1.
But they're going to go straight for the base here. They have a minion wave. They're going to go for that inhibitor. Matt's going to stop that back, and they're going to
just going to go for the game.
End it.
They've got very, very solid HP pools right now, Zirene. This could be the end of game number 1. Phoenix isn't able to come here. Piglet's looking to make the play, and there's no way he can stop it. And 35 minutes in, Team Liquid is going to take down Gold Coin United and find themselves a Game 1 win.
Off that Baron call, GCU trying to go for broke. TL calls them on it, 3v5. They win that fight, and then they get the structures down in mid lane to push them all the way for victory at 35 minutes. Even game for most of it. But that was the straw that broke the camel's back, and you got to think about that call.
It was a great counterattack from Liquid. It looked like it was going to work out pretty well for Gold Coin United, and I mean, they did get the Baron, but Team Liquid ultimately walking away with the win. And look at the score lines these guys put up in the process of doing it, Zirene. 4-0 and 2 on your Camille, 4-1 and 6 for the Karthus, 5-1 and 4 for Double Lift, and Matt on 0, 1, and 8, doing a great job supporting, keeping multiple people alive in different fights by eating them up.
Yeah, the fact that Matt, missed a few opportunities, but he still played it well, and that was a brutal lane to be in. Zyra Caitlyn is not an easy lane to lane against at all as a Tom Kench alongside a Varus. You're going to be playing underneath your turret for most of that game. You got to hit your tongue lashes when you do go for them so you can get your Bond of Stone off, or I guess your Stoneborn Pact now since it's been reworked, and make sure that you're getting some healing off of it. But I loved that last fight. That last fight where Double Lift picked up a triple, it was Santorin getting caught, Hextech ultimatum. Then as soon as he flashed away, it was right into where Double Lift had been firing and threw down a hail of arrows that hit him, and then the stacks of Blighted Quiver get popped after the ultimate. And so like Double Lift did a lot of work on the back end of that fight, and that was kind of like a pincer move from TL where Lorlo was causing a lot of pressure, but then this threat of Double Lift was on the other side too.
And speaking of big moves and big fights, let's go ahead and take a look at the play at 31 minutes yet again. Gold Coin United go for the Baron, and the Liquid 3-0 that comes afterwards.
Yeah, Mist Charm there gives Lorlo the go-ahead to go onto Phoenix. Phoenix has to Spirit Rush back, and they all collapse onto Lorlo, who then has to flash away. And the cask wasn't really on point there from Solo. He would love to hit Piglet either completely away or into the team so they could focus him. But then right here, it's just low mana bars, low HP bars, the poke from Double Lift coming out, doing so much damage. And then right there, boom! Orbital Ion Cannons were definitely...
They found their mark.
And they found another Orbital Ion Cannon there too.
Exterminatus. It's over. But
there.
Part of the reason that Team Liquid was able to get to this point was the awesome performance early on in the game from Rainover, who was more than doing his fair share of the work this game yet again here for his team.
Yeah, and I think like Rainover ganking top, setting Lorlo ahead, so he always had split push pressure on Solo, who ends the game 0-3 and 1, was a big point. But then you also have to look at what happened across the map when he made these plays, because he didn't do what Gilius did the other day, and he was actually able to match Santorin and actually outpace him in the jungle. He was up in gold. You can see right there at 10 minutes, almost 1,000 gold with 1 kill going to himself. But the bottom lane also got dove, and the rest of the team played around that. When the Karthus ultimate came through from Piglet, they stopped to dive and got a counter kill, which is exactly what you want to see as a jungler. You're making a play on one side of the map, you have the other side covered with some type of global, or nothing happens, and they back off. So I felt like TL just played it across the board really well. And that Karthus pick is really cheeky because we haven't seen that yet from Piglet.
It's unusual, but it's sometimes those unusual picks that catch you off guard, whether it's the 4-man ultimate coming in during the turret dive at the tier 1
or the
that ends up grabbing the kill, or whether it's at the Baron, or whether it's when he dies in the mid lane when Matt tries to save him and gets knocked back and then he grabs the kill in the mash. It was always catching people by surprise. It was always good.
It was super good. I don't know if it's going to get banned or picked or what's going to happen next, but that's definitely a pick that TL looked very comfortable playing around with Piglet. He didn't look like he was getting shoved in at all. He did lose his turret a little bit there, so I'll say that that wasn't great for him, but it didn't look like GCU knew how to play the fights around it just quite yet.
I'll trade my first turret for a Nexus any day of the week, Zirene, and I'm pretty sure that Team Liquid's feeling about the same way right now, but we got to step away for a quick break. But when we return, we're going to see if Goldcoin United can tie the series or if Team Liquid is going to jump out to a 2-game lead. Don't go anywhere.
We have 2 All-Stars, they have 1 All-Star. We cannot lose.
They have 2 All-Stars. Wait, you have 3 All-Stars, dude. I was All-Star too, dude.
Oh, okay, nice.
Hey, you killed me, dude.
I'll do them. I'm gonna flash on them,
I can eat. I'm gonna
Imi.
When I need.
Imi.
Actually, no, you're fine.
Okay. Okay,
I'm gonna up behind guys. Yo, someone take me. Someone take me.
I'll take it. I have CC.
I got
I got